Okay, I think we're ready to start. I'm going to read the caption here. Oh, I want to open up our work session this evening with the Board of Supervisor, a joint meeting with the Town Council for May the 4th, 2020. First item tonight is Swag IT Production System, LLC for video recording services. Walt, I would like to have a roll call as to who's here from the Town Council, please. Lynn?
Okay. Mayor Tewalt?
Here.
Vice Mayor Seelock? Vice
Here.
Mayor Seelock? Okay. Councilman Cockrell?
Here.
Councilman Gillespie?
Here, thank you.
Councilman Holloway?
Here.
Councilman Meza?
Here.
Councilman Thompson?
Here.
Thank
you,
you.
Lynn. Walt, you ready?
Yes, sir. Emily, could we get a roll call from all of the people from the county that are present?
Of course. Mr. May?
Here.
Mr. Fox?
Emily, Mr.
He's
Fox.
online.
Yeah, I can
He's
see him.
online.
Okay, I do see him, yes. Ms. Colors?
Here.
Ms. Oates?
Here.
Here.
And I believe Mr. Carter is not here, so I will mark him as absent.
Okay, with everybody present, Ms. Lynn, would you read the summary, please, of what we're going to be discussing this evening?
A quick note before you start that. Is
Okay.
Mr. Stanley available?
Yes, he's here as well.
I'm here,
Okay.
Walt.
All right. Thank you. I apologize. Just want to make sure we got all the county covered.
No problem.
Ms. Lynn?
Yes, sir. The video recording equipment in the county boardroom is outdated and malfunctioning. Swaggit Production Systems LLC's solution will replace the video equipment and enable enhanced viewing services for the community. The estimated costs for the town is $41,724.50, and the estimated cost for the county of Warren is $39,717.50. Does not include any transcription fees. Funding is provided through franchise agreements with Shentel and Comcast.
With that, Matt, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Tewalt. I'll turn it over to Mr. Jones, who's going to walk through a breakdown. And Todd, if you could go to that screen, are you able to go to that screen, Todd, or do you not have it up?
I don't have it easily accessible, Matt.
That's fine. No, you can talk through it. You have it in your packet, members of council. He's going to walk through the financial breakdown, and then from there, Swaggit is on the line, is going to do a proposal demonstration as well. Todd?
Thank you very much for everybody's time today. I wanted to go over the Swaggit IT costs, specifically that Matt was describing. I can tell you that retrofitting that room is a complex situation, and I think we found a simple, straightforward solution with Swaggit. Basically, there is a cost of $41,724 for the town and $39,717.50 for the county, and that's for the first year. Of all the service as well as the hardware that needs to be installed and annual support. Annual support is split between the town and the county each year of $2,100 each. The hardware is $21,477.50 each. And the service for the town is $9,900. And the service for the county is $16,140. The service for the county is a little bit higher because they included the school board meetings in that estimate as well. The second year costs, there's a mistake on the paperwork. Second year costs for the town are $20,265. And for the county, the second year costs are estimated at $18,240. The town is going to subscribe to a transcription process for their meetings. So that adds an additional $8,265 for transcriptions for all the meetings that the town has in regard to both town council and planning and zoning meetings as well as a work session. So that's a cost breakdown. I'm going to turn the information over to Natasha Ross from Swaggit. and she is going to present to you what we're going to propose here, what she and her company are going to install. Keep in mind that there's two things that have to happen. One is the installation of equipment. So we would be purchasing new cameras and new equipment. So the installation and purchase of that equipment is one cost. And then secondary to that is the cost related to the service. And I'll let Natasha describe to you what the service is. I think it's a pretty amazing system, and I'll let her describe that. Natasha, are you there?
Hello, good evening. This is Natasha Ross with Swagit. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you, Natasha. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for having me this evening. Hello, everybody. I appreciate this time and this opportunity. Am I sharing my screen right now, Todd? Do you see my screen?
No, I don't right now. But you do have presenter access.
Let's see. Hey, Todd, I'm not seeing the option to be able to share my screen.
So up in the upper left corner, you should see File, Edit, and Share.
I'll edit and share. Yes. And then
click on Share, and then you should see an option there to select what you want to share.
Perfect.
There you go.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Sorry about that. I've been using Zoom and some of the other web conferencing, and this is the first time I've used this one. So thanks for your patience. This right here is a basic diagram of the Avier solution. And by the way, let me just back up here real quick. Swagit Productions is a Texas company. We've been in business since 2003. We work with over 500 government agencies, and the solution that I'm proposing today is our hands-free Avier solution and also our ease streaming solution. So Avier is multiple cameras, so 4-camera setup with video switching equipment and streaming appliances as well. And this allows Dwayne or somebody there locally to completely control and operate the cameras there locally. In addition to this camera system will be a streaming encoder. That streaming encoder is going to do the bulk of the work. It's going to live stream your meetings if you want them live streamed based upon your meeting schedule. It will record those meetings and automatically upload the recorded meeting to Swagit's video department. This is where it gets a little wild and crazy. Swagit's video department has the fun task of watching your meetings live and time stamping them by agenda item so that anywhere between 3 to 4 hours from the time that your meeting ends, your archives will be posted to your website without you guys needing to touch or do anything at all. With that, there's a bunch of different options. So I'm going to talk through those and share with you guys some of the features that the video solution comes with. But just to kind of give you an idea about the Avier camera system, typically we're there between 2 to 4 days, depending on the setup complexities and other things that we might be doing while we're there. And on the last day, we are going to provide you guys the training that is necessary for you to fully operate that camera system there locally. Some of the things that we'll be training you guys on are the presets, getting your camera shots angled up and as a preset, as well as including your PowerPoint presentation system so that Dwayne or whoever is controlling the cameras there locally can click on certain presets to pull in that presentation feed. So by the time that we leave, everything has been installed, integrated, and everyone's been trained that's going to be using the system and operating the system there locally. And then from that point, we are going to be taking over the streaming side of it, where we handle all the streaming, the live streaming, and the recording and the archiving.
Natasha, can I interrupt you there real quick? I want to point out that the cameras at the building right now are standard definition cameras. All these cameras are much higher definition. They shoot at standard high definition that you see on TV these days. And so for the different people watching it, you'll see a much better picture. The other thing that this includes is some character generation. So you can have on the bottom part of the screen who's speaking, or you can have information related to whatever subject you're discussing at the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Todd. That was great. And that kind of leads us into this great example I want to show you. This is the city of Winchester, Virginia. And this particular client does have the Avier system. As you can see, this is a work session. And at the very beginning of that work session, they put up this slide that shows that the work session will begin shortly. Once the meeting has begun, you pull down that slide, and throughout the meeting, it gives you the ability to take these close-ups. I'm going to turn down the audio. Just bear with me here. Okay. And this particular client, they are not using the lower third graphics. It just really depends on the meeting. Some of the meetings, people will use them. Sometimes they don't. So it really just kind of depends. This is another client that I'm going to pull up and show you guys. And there's some other features I wanted to show you. And again, this is the Avier camera system. So they have a nice slide that shows up at the beginning of the meeting. And then let's see if we can get lucky and click on, there's the lower graphics. The lower third graphics there on the bottom of the video that Todd was talking about. So it gives you a really good information as far as who's talking, what they might be talking about, the date, the time. So just very good, valuable information. And it does get recorded this way for playback to cable. So if somebody is watching from home and they tune in and they're not sure where they're at in the meeting, this gives them a lot of really good detail and good information as to know exactly where everything is at in the meeting and the time. So what we're looking at right here is an archive of the City of West Covina's January 7th meeting. And with all of our clients, you're going to have the video on the left, and beneath the video is going to be the indexed version of the meeting or the timestamp. This is where Swagat staff is actually the one that's providing these time codes so that anywhere between 3 to 4 hours from the time that the meeting has ended, your archives are starting to pop up on your website. This allows your residents to very quickly navigate through a recorded meeting and get right to the topic of interest. We have heard that a lot of clerks will use this to write minutes, clean up minutes, go back to very important information if maybe something wasn't put down correctly, or a way to show that this did happen, during the meeting. So there's just a lot of good reasons why people really enjoy and benefit from this index version. Now I am going to go back here to the March 3rd meeting. And what I wanted to show you is this particular client has a feature called Sound Search. And what Sound Search does, I'm going to click play. And as the meeting begins, you're going to notice that the text over here on the right for the transcript is going to bold and move along as the meeting moves along. And this is really great. Again, if you've got folks that are hearing impaired, to be able to tune into a meeting, watch the text as it scrolls. I think that's really valuable information. And then also to come to the search field right here. And by the way, I should have said this. This right here in the center of the page is called an iframe. Everything around that iframe is the city's website. So we just ask that you create a blank page somewhere within your website. We will provide you with this embed code so that you just copy and paste into the back end of your content management system. And then what shows up is this iframe. This iframe is pulling from Swagat servers. So we are actually the ones that are updating the information as it becomes readily available. So there's nothing that anybody needs to do and to update the website or anything like that. We actually do that. What's nice is that this is pulling from our servers, so it's not affecting your network, your bandwidth, your storage allotment. Everything is being offloaded onto Swagat for the life of the contract. For the life of the contract, we will retain all of your content. The county, the town always owns that content. Swagat never owns that content. If at the end of the contract, you guys decide to go elsewhere, we will provide all of that content back to you guys. You would just provide us with an external hard drive and you would receive all of that content back. While you are a Swagat client, we will retain this though in three 3 different places. So we have multiple levels of redundancy for your content. And we lock you in at your monthly rate, which is something that I don't think any other company in the tech side of business does that. But for the life of the contract, you get locked into your monthly rate. So even as 5-10 years down the line, the cost of just doing business always increases, labor costs increase, everything increases. The only thing that might go down are storage costs, but everything else increases. Your rate always stays the same. So year after year, a lot of my clients will reach out and say, what is going to be my rate next year? And I tell them it's the same as it was the previous year. So even retaining our clients, it becomes more expensive year after year. We like to lock that in, make it easy to budget for. There's no surprises. There's no overages. There's not a bill that comes in the mail that says you've had too many people watching your meeting. So just flat rate pricing. This feature right here, I was going to show you with the iframe. If you type in a keyword and you hit search, what Swagit offers is where it searches for every time somebody says whatever your keyword is. In this case, it's water. But what I really like about this feature is that it doesn't just pull up the word water, because that could be a lot of waters during a meeting. It will pull up the sentence or surrounding the sentence. Therefore, it helps you to kind of determine which water you're specifically looking for. And then you can click on that and it will open up and take you to that point in the meeting. Another great feature, which is a communication feature, is we're going to do a little bit of pretending. We all know that there is a lot of good content that happens during meetings. So we're going to pretend that item 3 is Boy Scout troops receiving an award, and we're going to come over here to share this video. You can start sharing from this point, and you can quickly share that out to social media. That's a great communication feature to get really good content that happens in the meetings. Always a lot of good awards that are being given out. And so being able to share that content very quickly to promote some positive news in the community, I think is very valuable. Also, you can download that whole entire meeting, or you can download just that one item. The use case for this is for attorneys that just need one item, maybe on a DVD. And we don't want people to have to spend a bunch of time trimming video. You can just come here, select the item, and then download and put that onto DVD. Okay. So because this solution, and by the way, I didn't mention this either, we come to your site about an hour before your meeting starts, and we grab your agenda and we integrate that into the video player, thereby letting your residents follow along as the meeting is moving along. Because this solution is designed to be completely hands-free for streaming, there's no other additional, skills or responsibilities that people need to learn. There is not a back end to the system that I would have to show you guys or train anybody on. It is really designed to be hands-free so that at the end of your meeting, you guys go home and the next day you come to work and your meeting has been posted and archived for you. Some of our Virginia clients are York County, Winchester, the city of Winchester, and we also have Alexandria City Public Schools. They've been a client for many years now, but we have a lot more in Virginia. I'm happy to share references if need be. We have quite a few clients in Virginia and Maryland as well. So the pricing that I offered to you guys that I put together is very unique pricing. It was put together especially in the situation of kind of this joint collaboration, joint deal. So it is very heavily discounted pricing, but it is something that I was able to work out with my manager and make sure that we could get something put together that was very affordable. But also that was going to help with increasing transparency and accessibility and really help the public, be more engaged with local government. Some of our latest developments have kind of come through in regard to COVID, is integrating the WebEx and Zoom technology. So just know that kind of future proofing yourself down the line. If there is for some reason where everybody needs to be off site, we can stream directly from those platforms to Swagit servers, so that nobody has to be there on site if need be. And we would continue to service our accounts that way, which we have been doing with all of our clients over the last month and a half, 2 months. So with all that being said, I would like to see if anybody has any questions for me.
Natasha, this is Matt Tiedrick, Front Royal. Thank you for the presentation. One question, if you could perhaps elaborate on the transcription. It's my understanding you do a full transcription of the meeting as opposed to traditional minutes. Is that correct?
You know, I am so sorry. I kind of very faintly heard you. I had my volume turned down because of the video playing, and I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that, Matt?
Sure, no problem. You may want to explain Swagit's transcription capability and the fact that it's a full transcription as opposed to a partial versus minutes, traditional minutes.
Sure. So kind of going back here, this is the transcript here. Let me just go ahead and download this transcript here. This transcript is for the spoken word. So everything that is being said during the meeting is being captured here in this transcript. And this could almost work as verbatim minutes. However, if council, if you're not saying your name before you speak, then it's not going to show up in the transcript. So that is going to be something that somebody would have to go back and add in. I do have some clients that, especially through kind of the Zoom and WebEx days, they've already kind of started addressing, saying who they are before they speak. And then some people say they're going to continue that. So this is the transcript though. And I do have some in Virginia that are using it as their verbatim and going in and adding the speaker names in.
Yeah, Rhonda told me that's how she does her meetings, is she takes the verbatim and then adds information to them for minutes.
Matt, did that answer your question?
It sure did. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, this is Dolores Oates with the county. Natasha, I am concerned about security. Can you talk to me about how secure the streaming is? Can somebody get into the back end? Can somebody get into the camera system? What are the levels of security available in this system?
Well, that is a fantastic question. I wish I would have grabbed one of my network folks, because a lot of that does kind of apply to the network side of things. Because I don't want to answer incorrectly and I'd prefer to get you the correct information, would you be okay with me getting with him after this call and sending you an email of what our security measures are? I would rather it come from somebody that has that technology background.
Sure, that's acceptable. Can you maybe elaborate then on what the annual cost cover? Is it hardware, warranty, maintenance? You've got several, I noticed the OEM showing in the diagram, a Dell PowerEdge server. If the hard drive fails, are we responsible? Can you elaborate on some of those things?
Yeah, great question. So most of the equipment does come with a 3-year manufacturer warranty. Some of the equipment is a 1 year. We have really good policies around getting things fixed. And the reason for it, we are not just a reseller of hardware. We are a service primarily company. And so if you guys are not able to conduct a meeting or run your meeting, then we're not getting paid on the service side of things. So as far as replacements, if it's under warranty, we will overnight replacements to you. Most of the time we've been able to fix everything, almost everything remotely. And the reason why I can say that It's because we have over 200 government clients that are utilizing our camera system. And it is a very, very, very rare occasion where we have to go back on site to replace anything. And so most of the time it's stuff that we can do remotely. And then if not, then we will overnight replacements if under warranty. And we do have extended warranty options for equipment. But just to give you an idea, our encoders, if there is something wrong and we can't fix it remotely, then we'll just overnight a replacement. But majority of our equipment, and I can say this, I've been here with the company since 2008. A lot of times we really just ship things out. So if something needs to get replaced and it's out of warranty, a lot of times we'll just send it to you guys. If not, then if it's something that's, a little bit more costly, we will send a quote and we can certainly come on site to replace it. Or we can send it to you guys to replace yourself.
Thank you. I have a couple more. Are there fees related to the storage of the content files that aren't mentioned in the proposal? And is there a cap on content?
So everything is kind of based upon the number of meetings. And the reason that we do it that way is because there is a lot of labor that's involved in time stamping or indexing your meetings. Unfortunately, it's not an automated process. And so the man hours that go into that process has to somehow be accounted for. We don't base it on the number of hours. Again, we like to keep things very straightforward and flat rate pricing. So it's just based on the number of meetings. And that's kind of the way we do it. As far as storage goes, we actually store your content for the life of the contract. So whatever meetings that we are indexing for you guys that are within your package, we will store that content indefinitely for the life of the contract. So there's no additional storage cost. And you had actually brought up a really good question about what's all included in these packages. A lot of times people look at them and they think, well, it's just for index meetings, and that's actually not true. So what's all included in this package is that Swagit staff, yes, is indexing the meetings. In addition to that, it's all of your storage, unlimited bandwidth, 24/7 customer support, live stream, Google Analytics. So if you do want to go back and see some of the hot topics and what items that you're getting the most activity from, we would share that with you guys. You can log in and you can see those analytics. If you want to have a report sent to you every week or every month, we can set it up to do that as well. So there's a lot of other things that are not necessarily listed out here as far as what's included in the package, but that's a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you. I noticed that it said a discount can be made if we do a year 2 purchase at the beginning. Is that a guarantee of money back if we decide not to? Or tell me how that whole thing works, if you would.
So this is actually, I'm thinking you're referring to the optional annual support for Avier upgrades.
Yeah, that's year 2. I think it's a year 2. It says that optional annual support for Avier upgrades includes a discount if year 2 is purchased at the beginning.
Correct. And so basically what this is that if anything is outside of warranty, then, we will replace that equipment. It would be covered under this. And so the first year, yes, it would be, I guess, optionally add 20%. So then if you wanted to purchase this beyond the first year, then discount for year 2 if purchased at the beginning. So there wouldn't necessarily be a refund if it wasn't used or anything. It's just kind of a, buy at the beginning if it is something that you guys want. And this is something that we kind of newly just added to our price sheet just because in the past, the way that Swagit's really managed things is that if something's broke, we just want to get it fixed. But we noticed that we had a lot of clients that were looking for something like some sort of dollar amount that gave them the reassurance that they knew something would be taken care of. And so this is the package that my manager recently put together for, those types of situations. But the system is a very hardy system, and I'm not going to say that you don't need it. Again, I've been here since 2008. We have a lot of camera systems installed, and they're very hardy systems. It's very rare that anything does go wrong with them. So we've been very fortunate. And to give you kind of an example of that, we have the farthest system that we have installed camera system is up in Yellowknife, Canada, which is above the Canada on the map. It's up in the Northwestern Territories, and it took us 10 hours by plane. That was 6 years ago. We've never had to go back on site. And that's kind of speaks to the system. It's a very good, durable system.
That's awesome. Can you tell me how often are your upgrades released?
Usually quarterly. It really depends, though, what's coming out, but usually quarterly.
All right, I'm gonna let somebody else ask questions now.
Dolores, if I could jump in here real quick, you'll notice on the cost breakdown, I did put $2,100 for both the town and the county in annual support for the initial cost, and then in year 2, it's included in that as well.
Thanks, Todd.
Hey, Todd, this is Gene.
Councilman Gillespie here. So if by chance we go through the meetings, I think it was 24 work sessions, 10 special meetings. Any other meetings past that is $150 a meeting, including the transcript portion?
No, the transcript portion is just a flat rate. So there's not an additional cost for the transcription.
Thank you.
And something else I want to share with you guys, and again, just pointing back to my length of history with the company, we sorry about that. The 4-year-old decided to come in. We don't nickel and dime our clients. So if you go over a couple meetings, it's nothing that we're concerned about. If you go over 10 to 15, at the end of that contract year, we will look at the numbers and we'll kind of see, is this something that we think is going to happen in the future? Was it just kind of a one-time thing, or once a year thing? And if it does look like the meeting count needs to increase, then we can revisit, the meeting packages and see. But we don't have the manpower, nor does our accounting department want to go and count meetings out there. So that's not to say don't take advantage of it, but we're pretty lenient about that stuff.
Okay, and Natasha, this is Latasha Thompson, and my one question was, so I see here that the average meeting is 90 minutes. We typically try to go for 2 hours, so sometimes if our meeting is short, we'll go into a work session. Is that something that would be billed out differently, or is it pretty much just like the transcription service?
Yeah, so it really depends on how many agendas. So if it's the same agenda, then it's considered the same meeting. If it's a different agenda, then we consider that 2 separate meetings.
Okay, perfect. And then my other question was surrounding the Google Analytics on that. So within your report, does it go into detail, like, say, for instance, someone landed on the page, opened up the agenda, and they were going specifically to, I don't know, whatever is happening at issue 2. So they clicked on issue 2 on the agenda. Will we be able to see the clicks?
That's correct. And so it'll show the topic, the item that they clicked on. So if there's an uptick in agenda item 3, then you know that's, and you guys probably know which ones people are excited about. But it kind of goes and supports, the thought there that this might be a hot topic. Then you can go back and kind of verify that with the analytics.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good questions, guys.
This is Dolores again. I have one more. Are our constituents able to communicate with us while this is streaming? Is there a way for them to ask questions or to add comments?
So we don't have any kind of citizen participation. I do know that Zoom has some good technology, and I know that some people are a little bit leery and nervous of Zoom. And so I'm not familiar with WebEx or maybe some of the other web conferencing, but I do know that going forward that some people are going to already kind of incorporate those Zoom meetings even once things kind of get back to that new normal. And through some of these web features, these web conferencing features, it does give people the option to call in, like residents to call in. So our system specifically does not have that citizen participation. But I do know that through some of the web conferencing, people are going to utilize stuff like that.
Dolores, let me jump in here too. I do want to mention, we forgot to mention this. You can watch all this stuff online live, obviously, but if town council or board of supervisors choose to, we can also stream it on the PEG channel live as well, if that's an option you guys want to take.
Todd, this is Jake. Is this going to be a new cost to the town budget, or is it replacing something else?
It's a new cost, but we took money in from the franchise agreement with Chantel as well as Comcast. So the costs are already covered with the funds we took in from those two organizations for the first year. After the first year, there'll be the costs will have to be incurred by the town. It is a new cost.
Thank you.
Todd, this is Dolores again. Will we each have our own contract then, or will we, one of us appropriate money to the other?
So everything that's been done in that room in the past has been split 50-50 by the town and the county. So you have two different things. Like I said, you have the equipment installation, that's split 50-50. But the services are different because the town and the county do different things in that room. So the contract specifically for the services is a little bit different. Whether that comes in one contract or two contracts, I don't think we've defined that. I'll let Natasha speak into that if you have any insight there.
We are comfortable doing it whichever way makes the most sense for you guys.
Yeah, Doug and I both believe separate contracts will be best for the services.
Okay.
Yes, this is Councilman Cockrell, Lori Cockrell. I just wanted to mention to everyone, actually, just to give you guys a little background. So back in January, right after I was appointed, one of the town citizens had called me about something else and shared this program, the company and what their capabilities were, and I thought it sounded like a great opportunity. Rhonda North, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Rhonda, and she's the clerk in Middleburg, Virginia. And she shared that Middleburg uses this service, and also shared how I believe it was her mayor had calculated how much time he estimated that it freed her up to work on other projects. And I thought that was really important because, I don't know how much time is spent. I mean, obviously the videoing and that stuff is done, but the going back and typing up the minutes. And I also know from my own experience of trying to go back and look at minutes and things like that from the last year or two of meetings when I was trying to kind of catch up with everything. I found it complicated sometimes to go back and find exactly what I was looking for. And this service, I think, would really be very transparent for our citizens. They could look very easily. And and Rhonda mentioned, I contacted her after I knew we were having the presentation. She said she definitely gives it a stamp of approval. And also she mentioned that apparently many of the Loudoun County areas were also looking to go with Swagat as well. So I just wanted to share that, that's somebody local and how it had benefited them in their employees' time. That's all.
Todd, I had a question. So are we going to have additional hardware at Town Hall for our work sessions?
No, the work sessions will just continue to record on audio, and then we'll send that information off for transcription. The only equipment that'll change will be what's at the government center. We will not video record the work sessions that we have here at our office or in the other room over at the Warren County office.
Okay, and then my other question is, it looks like the town only is doing transcriptions. Is there no interest by the county, or we just knew what we wanted and didn't know what the others wanted?
The county's indicated they're not interested in that right now.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
We can always change our mind down the road if we want to.
Of course.
So Todd, this is Dolores again. The microphones in the county boardroom, are those still going to be? And I don't see microphones with this. So is that the PA part, our responsibility? How does that work?
So they'll take the existing equipment and integrate it into this system, but no, there is no audio equipment included in this. I don't think it's necessary. The microphones are working fine. We'll change some of the back-end hardware as far as amplifiers and systems like that, but Swaggit will actually rewire it for us and put it into the new system, the existing equipment.
Okay, because currently the microphones are, the sound system is challenged. We get feedback, sometimes the microphones are working, there are other times when they're not, so that was my concern.
Yeah, we've had some issues with the older hardware that's in there, and my suggestion would be to put a 5% contingency on this. So if something like the microphones need to be replaced, we can do that. Those microphones aren't terribly expensive, but we can look at that at the time.
Thank you, Todd.
Todd,
this is
Councilman
Emily.
Seelock. Todd, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You talked about Comcast dollars that were already implemented. What is that total?
So the town took in $32,000 from Comcast and $20,000 from Shentel. Of that money, I think we've spent about $2,000 or $3,000 at this point replacing some hardware for Channel 16. Other than there just should be about $50,000 left in that account.
Now, is that all town funds, or is that town and county, and how is it split?
That's all town funds. The county has their own franchise agreement and their own money that they took in on their franchise agreement. Doug, I don't know if you want to speak into that.
Sure. I believe it's $31,000 for Comcast, and we haven't spent it yet.
So if I read that correctly, then our first year is funded?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Todd, this is the mayor's. Going back to this last sheet that was up on the screen that had I believe it was the last sheet of our package, where it says that the 825 or 12 months or 9,900. Is that going to be the yearly cost that we will pay each year? And I thought I heard Latasha say something that wouldn't change. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the $2,100 is for maintenance. That won't change. And the service is $9,900 per year. That won't change either. Both the town and the county incur those costs. The county's service cost is not $9,900, it's $16,140. The annual support should remain at $2,100, and those are the year two costs. In addition to that, the town only has transcription costs estimated at $82.65.
So based on that, if I'm looking at this, then if we look at this and they split the 2 year at the bottom of the first page we looked at, the $20,265. So that would be we pay 20 or 10, say 10,000 roughly, plus another $990. Is that for the second year? The first year's already paid, correct?
Yeah, the first year is already paid. The second year is $20,265 for the town. I made a mistake with the county. It's estimated $18,240.
Yeah, I heard that. But does that include the 9,900 as well?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, that's all I need. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other
This is for this is Councilman Seelock. I got a question for Natasha from Swagger. The transcript, if I read this properly, it says will not be a legal document. Is that correct?
Yeah, the transcript doesn't have speaker identification, so and so that's specifically why we're kind of pointing that out.
Is your business looking at a legal proposition for this where it can be certified?
It's something that we are considering, and it's something we've been considering. Obviously, there's a lot of responsibility with that, and so it's not something that we're taking lightly. I can certainly check to see where we stand today, but I do know that that is something that we have been working towards.
Well, I have seen it work at the federal government level for different entities, and that's why I'm very concerned about this, because it's not only time saving for the clerk, but it's also a faster way to search minutes rather than the typewritten word, which is approved by council anyway. That's why I asked the question. Thank you.
Yep, good question.
Again, going back to that with Mr. Seelock, this is the mayor again. If they're not, put it this way, when they come back to us for the final approval at our regular council meeting minutes, through our minutes, is that the time that they become certified at that point after I sign off of them? Can anybody answer that?
Sorry, Matt stepped out. This is BJ. I believe that's the case. I don't have Doug Napier here in the room with me, but we can certainly find out and get back to you.
Well, the reason I say that, before when the council approves it, and then when I sign it, it becomes an official document, and we initial all the pages that are pertinent to the minutes. So just want to make sure that if we can do these the same way and get them officially, the official documents, I want to make sure that that's suitable, so that we can use them for that, and knowing that they are certified.
So I can speak into that. I believe that when the transcription comes back, the clerk here with the town, either Mary Ellen or Tina will take that transcription and add the appropriate information for it to be certified.
Now, will they go through and edit it as well? Because when we were looking at the transcript for another municipality, like through the Pledge of Allegiance, it was saying something else, because I guess the system didn't recognize what the word was. So is Mary Ellen expected to completely edit the entire transcript?
I don't want to speak on their behalf, but my understanding is they will review the information and make sure it's as accurate as possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
This is Councilman Seelock. I've got a question again on this Comcast funding. Do we have any restrictions or limitation time-wise on expenditure?
So the franchise agreement request specifies that the money has to be spent for upgrades to the broadcast center. It doesn't have I don't believe it has a timeline on it. It just says the money has to be spent in relationship to upgrades to the studio.
Thank you.
This is Walt. Just a quick question. If Comcast is providing us funds to do this, am I to assume that we'll be getting funds next year as part of our agreement for year two and move forward?
Well, this is Doug. The payment to the town and county were one-time payments for the length of the franchise.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head, maybe 15 years. So next year, the $20,000 maintenance cost would have to come out of our general fund dollars. There would be no additional Comcast dollars coming in. They only help with the equipment. Just like 20 years ago, Comcast dollars to the town and county paid for the original installation. So basically, we're paying for that annual service would have to be on our own without Comcast support.
Okay. Now I've got one more question then. Our portion consists of the county portion and the school board. Is the school board going to be reimbursing the county for any of the funds that they would be using?
We haven't talked to them. Obviously, and really, the fact is it comes out of our pocket. I mean, we could ask them for their share, but I imagine next year they would build that in their budget, and we'd end up paying a part of that anyway. So I think, for all intents and purposes, we've assumed the county would be paying for that share.
Thank you.
Mr. Teeter?
Yes, sir.
When does this have to be approved? Or is there a time dilemma on it?
No, sir. We have no set time other than we were hoping to get the installation done while the room is vacant and we can test it but considering the fact that everyone's working remotely, the current season that we're in, the thought was to go ahead and if council were inclined to approve it, we move forward, but there's no set time when it needs to be approved.
Well, I understand that. I just want to make sure if we approve it, I want to make sure that the county approves it as well. So, we don't have our approval or not approval or vice versa. That we're both working on the same page.
Yes, sir. That's why we thought it'd be important to have this joint meeting tonight.
The question would be then to the chairman, Walt. How do you feel? What is your time schedule in regards to possibility of approving this?
I think if we actually talk about it and review it amongst ourselves, we can make a decision relatively quickly. I don't know if we could get it on a session tomorrow. I think that would be a little too early, but possibly next week we could take a look at it and discuss it, and then we'd vote on it.
Okay. As soon as you do, can you let us know? Because right now, tonight being a work session, and if the council agrees to go ahead and put it on an agenda without more discussion, then we should have something ready to be approved probably in the next 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That would work.
And then, Doug, could we be ready to make a vote on that within a couple of weeks as well?
Yeah, I was thinking the outside by our meeting on the 19th, the second meeting, we can. One of us is going to have to.
We could go FERC and just make the motion contingent upon the county's approval.
Yeah.
So one of us will go first, Mr. Mabe and Mr. T. Walt. So whoever is able to get it on the agenda first will just make the motion contingent upon the approval of the other body.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Just want to make sure that our council realizes that if there's any other questions, we probably need to go through Todd or you in order to answer those questions instead of taking it back to another work session, unless the council wants to do that.
That works, yes, sir.
Mr. Tiedrich or Mr. Jones, who's ever heading up this section, between now and when we do discuss this again, is there an opportunity maybe for county and town staff to just maybe look at what this would save in manpower, basically, to see, what this would help to free up staff from time that maybe they would have spent doing some of these things?
Sure, we can do that.
I had this is Walter. I had one more question for Emily. Emily, you still with us?
I'm still here, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Emily, can you, without the transcription, do you see this benefiting you and the people that work with you and around you? That would help you and the board of supervisors.
Yes. So I wanted to touch a little bit on why I personally would not prefer a transcription. As you know, I sit up on the dais. I have the computer in front of me, so I kind of take notes as the meeting progresses. And for me personally, it's much easier to go back and look at my notes and do action-based minutes based on those, instead of going through and having to review a pre-made transcription that was completed by somebody else who isn't necessarily in the room. And I believe Councilwoman Thompson touched on it. I actually snapped a picture of the transcription that was on the screen there for a little bit. It had a curse word in the Pledge of Allegiance, which, I definitely would not include that in my minutes. But from a transcription point of view, that's why I wouldn't necessarily find that helpful on my end. But for the video capabilities, this would help significantly on my end. I've talked about it with Todd a little bit. So the process of what I typically do to get the videos onto the website or for the YouTube channel, Dwayne burns a copy of the video onto a DVD. I put the DVD in my computer. I copy all of the files from the DVD onto my computer, and then I upload them all into Windows Movie Maker, which is a no longer supported application through Windows 7. I splice all of the videos together, and then I save it to my computer, and then I upload it to YouTube. So it definitely takes a couple of hours for all of the copying and the pasting and the processing and whatnot. So having the capability for a third party to come in and do all of that recording and uploading by themselves would save significantly on that portion of the meeting work that I do. Yes.
The reason I ask that is there is an annual cost to this. And if we are saving for our county $20,000+ a year, because that's what it's going to cost us, it may be beneficial. And it sounds like to me, you're saying that we would, but I'm not basing that opinion upon what you're saying. All I'm saying is your opinion matters a whole bunch, because you're the one that deals with this most of the time, you and Dwayne and anybody else that's working with the cameras and the audio equipment. And this is to help all of us, not just the board.
And I greatly appreciate that. And I think another aspect is, and I believe Todd mentioned it as well, the video capabilities that Swagit is offering are HD. And so with the newer Channel 16 software and hardware that we received earlier this year, it has, HD capabilities for the meetings, but our current video production is not up to that snuff. So unfortunately, you have the HD capability through Channel 16, but the video quality for the meetings is still not HD. So I think, and another aspect that I'm not 100% sure I heard Ms. Ross touch on, but the ADA compliance as well. The videos, they have the ability to automatically add closed captioning, which I think would help significantly, especially on the back end for people who may be hearing impaired. And I think that would help us towards ADA compliance as well.
You're talking about signing or something similar.
The closed captioning at the bottom of a video.
Yeah, I mean, like a picture-in-picture where if we were to ever get to a point to where we needed closed captioning for those that were hearing impaired, but they weren't visually impaired. Is that something that can be added?
So right now, YouTube has automatic closed captioning. It's certainly not accurate, but from the presentation that Swagit did a couple of months ago to county and town staff, there are varying levels of closed captioning that can be provided for the videos. So that's definitely an option there.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions this evening? Matt, you or Todd have any closing remarks?
No, just wanted to thank everyone for getting on this meeting, and a lot of good questions. And I understand the takeaways, and I'll provide some more information to Town Council at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Todd, you got anything?
Nope, I'm excited to see a 21st century solution to our town, and I think it's a great opportunity for the people who watch what we do every day. So I'm excited. Thank you for everybody throwing it together at the last minute here. I know it was a quick turnaround. I appreciate everybody's efforts.
Paul, does your group have any questions this evening?
I'm not sure. I haven't polled everybody, but if there's anybody with the county that has an additional question, please jump in now while we have the opportunity and got all the players. If not, I'm okay.
Okay, if no one has any other questions, then we'll consider this joint meeting closed.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Natasha.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Matt, if you'll give me a second here, I've got a couple people that need to check in briefly, and we'll get on our way.
Okay.
David, I just gave you control of your microphone. You should be good to go.
Good evening, Todd. How are you doing this evening?
Just fine, thank you. Kale, you're also in control of your microphone now. Thank you very much. You check in with us real quick. I can see you're trying, bud. Can't hear you. You there, Kale? Okay, we'll just hang tight. And Megan, I gave you control of your microphone. Can you check in with us briefly, please?
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you very much. Go ahead and mute your mic, and you can unmute when your time comes. And Emily, I'm going to take you out of the meeting, okay?
I was actually going to ask if I was able to leave. Thanks, Todd.
Yep, thank you. And Walt, I'm going to drop you as well.
Would it be possible to stay for just a few minutes? I mean, I
Sure.
noticed that y'all were going to be talking to about tourism, and I know that that's toward the last, but I would like to be a part if I could.
Yes, sir. Walt, all I did was take you off the presentation portion of it. You can still listen to the meeting, and your microphone is under your control. So you're there. You're just as an attendee now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. And Archie, I'm going to do the same with you, sir. Okay, Mayor T-Walt, Matt, I think we're good to go, sir. Thank you very much.
Can you share with me, Todd, please?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Give me 2 seconds.
And David, David Jenkins, I think your mic is still hot. You can mute that.
There you go, Matt. You have presentation privileges. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody ready? I'd like to open our work session agenda's forum this evening for May the 4th, 2020. This time, the item number 1 is the CDBG Pavilion and Landscape Update. Could I have Lynn read the caption or summary for that, please?
Yes, sir. The lowest base bid received was $244,186. Additional work totaling $39,863 listed as alternate 3 in the bid document included adding fieldstone to center gable and fieldstone accents to pavilion column bases and the restroom building. The base bid, including alternate number 3 work totals $283,349. The CDBG budget includes $130,000 for the construction of the pavilion and $13,000 that should be able to be transferred from the CDBG permitting line item, providing a total of $143,000 that can be used from the CDBG budget. Additional funding totaling $140,349 would be needed if the town chooses to move forward with the purchase of the pavilion. The town could request a CDBG budget amendment, which could allow a 50-50 split between the town funds and the CDBG funds. Summit Design, who is assisting the town with the CDBG, recommends that the town agree to provide town funding of $75,000 and to request the CDBG budget amendment to cover $75,000, which would allow a contingency amount of $9,651 for the project. Streetscape Design, estimated for $70,000. More information on this design is attached. Money is still in the Sears budget. Engineer is willing to reduce his fee by 15% to $59,500. Town has already paid first installment of $11,223.18. Pending balance would be $48,276.82 should council desire to complete the project.
Thank you, Lynn. Matt, we'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We've talked about the pavilion numerous times. I think we've had a work session on it. Matter of fact, I think we've had a couple work sessions now. We're just getting to the point of where we need to make a determination, and I need to get some direction from council if you want to move forward with the pavilion or not. And that's the purpose of that portion of the meeting. So if it's all right with you, Mr. Mayor, I'll keep the two items separate.
Yeah, that'd be great. Is there any discussion? It's just that.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I've been a big fan of this pavilion, since we've been talking about it. I'm kind of thinking that we need to pull back on this for right now. I would like to find out if we could possibly at a later point discuss it again, because it's in my opinion it's needed downtown for events and things of that nature. I really would not like to just table it and forget about it, but I think at the current situation that we're under right now, I think it would probably be prudent to hold off on this for right now. And that's just my thoughts, Mr. Mayor. I'm sure, I have no problem putting it to a vote if the rest of council wants to go that direction with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, to respond to Mr. Gillespie's comment. Mr. Gillespie, we're not under a time constraint as it relates to the pavilion per se, other than we just need to make sure that the bid stays locked in for a certain time period, and I can verify with Ms. Scott to try to make sure we understand the exact how long we have. It appears that the grant program is going to be extended. Mr. Ellis, the last conversation I had with Mr. Ellis and Mr. Wilson, he said it's definitely going to be extended. So I think we have time. If you wanted to wait until the fall, I believe we could probably push it off that far back, so long as the bid is still a good bid during that time period.
Mr. Tiedrick, I wouldn't guarantee it, but with the way things are slowing down right now, I would take a pretty good hunch that price may come down some. Maybe not drastically, but it may come down.
Yes, sir.
Matt, a question from me. If we put this much money into this pavilion, is this still going to have to go under the Davis-Bacon Act?
Yes. Yes, if, in order to, well, I take that back. I apologize. This is BJ, by the way. We're purchasing the building as a kit. As long as we purchase it as a kit, we're purchasing the materials. If we have someone construct it, then we would have to follow the Mavis-Bacon Act. Davis-Bacon, sorry. But as long as we're purchasing it as a kit, I think that was our workaround for it.
Well, could we look into that? Because that should be a very substantial differential in cost due to the fact that we're going to be under the regulations of the feds on that portion of it. I don't know how long that would take, or at least let the council know exactly if we are under those restraints or not.
Yes, we are if we do the construction of it. If we, as long as we're purchasing it as a kit construction, or come pre-built, prefabricated is the word I was looking for. As long as it comes prefabricated, I don't believe we have to follow this guideline.
Well, if we do that, then could we just hire some general contractor locally and let them put it in, as if we're going to do a kit?
Well, if we have hire a local contractor, it's not a kit. They're actually doing the construction of it.
No, I mean they're taking the kit and then constructing it, or how could you get by that?
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know about that one. We'll have to get with Craig Wilson on that one. I don't know.
All right, thank you, BJ.
Mr.
Any
Diedrich,
Mr.
Councilman Seelock,
Thank you.
it's my understanding that the budget for the CDBG can be modified at any time. And it's also my understanding that the facade dollars are not going to be fully spent. Can you enlighten us on those two items? Because that brings us to, if we were actually to put the money up front, we may be able to reallocate the budget to defer this cost to the town. Is that my understanding?
Yes, sir. That's my understanding as well. And Craig Wilson is going to be here tomorrow night, and I can make sure we double check that answer from him. But the last time Mr. Ellis and Mr. Wilson were here together, there was the ability to shift some funds from the facade to the pavilion. But it's just like everything with this program. There's caveats, and it's really hard to get a definitive answer exactly what they would and would not allow us to do. But I can keep pushing on that rope tomorrow night and see if the sense of council is tonight that we want to continue to move forward on the pavilion. Then we'll roll our sleeves up and continue to figure out a way to move forward to the pavilion so it costs the town citizens the least amount of money. If the sense of council tonight that you do not want to move forward on that project, then that would help us understand the intent and direction of council. Or just like Mr. Gillespie said tonight, maybe council just wants to wait a few months and see where the budget is, and then we'll figure out how to fund it at that time.
Well, I don't have a problem with the delay in to review our budget situation or shortfall, but what I am concerned about is if we renege on this project, what are the ramifications? In the previous meeting that I attended on CDBG, I got the impression that if we renege on any part of this funding project, that it may not be a ramification this year, but any future grants going forward to this town may be in jeopardy. So
Yes,
I'd like
sir,
to
that's
hear
correct.
a clarification on that matter.
Yeah, Mr. Ellis definitely said that at the last meeting he attended. However, I had a conference call with Mr. Ellis and Mr. Wilson and Chris Brock during this COVID-19 situation, pandemic that we're in, because I wanted to get an understanding of where, what ramifications, what would happen if we decided not to continue to move forward on the facade grant. And I had conversations with him to try to find money for the Afton Inn through CBDG. So we had a good, healthy 45-minute conversation. And once again, there's nothing in stone, but his impression was due to the pandemic. Many jurisdictions are in a situation where they're reconsidering their CBDG monies and how they're being spent. And the programs that are funded through the government institutions are moving forward. However, ones that require joint funding with business owners, like the facade grant, he said many of those are not moving forward. So his impression was that he'd be very surprised if we were not able to fund everything to the level that we had originally hoped to fund. He would be very surprised if it would be a tremendous ding or it would prevent us in the future from getting CBDG money. So that was and Chris, if you're on the line, if I misrepresent anything, or if you wanted to add.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
He said we wouldn't. Well, that leads me into the second question then. The town has already funded through this budget $95,000. So if we were to fund another 48,000, now we are, up to close to $150,000. Now the 95, of course, is through labor and services given, but it's still, that is an expenditure. I'm simply saying that because some of the council that are new may not know that.
Well, Matt, is there any way that we can go ahead and just postpone this temporarily until the next work session in, let's see, this is May, June, and that'll give you plenty of time to check out all these questions that we may have, and then that way by that time we ought to know all the ins and outs as to what the block grant's going to give us or not give us. Would that be sufficient?
Sure, happy to do that.
Would that be okay with the council?
Yeah, this is Jake. So we had already spent $11,000, and we'd set aside another $48,000 to complete the project. Is that correct?
No, that's for the streetscape project. That's for the second discussion point.
Oh. Okay, so how much have we already spent on this project?
For the pavilion, we haven't spent anything yet.
Well, shoot, I was writing some wrong notes on this then. Okay, I'm good.
Is that okay with the rest? We'll just postpone it to another work session, the first one in June. That way we'll
Yes, I agree, Mayor T-Walt.
Thank you. That'll give us a little more idea as to where our budget's going, our finances. Well, Matt, I think if that's all agreeable to the council, let's do that. And so let's move on to the second item.
The second item has to do with the streetscape study, which was again, that was locked in at the early stages of the CBDG. The streetscape design came back. We budgeted $70,000 for the streetscape design, of which 100% of it is funded by the town. Currently, prior to the contract's been awarded, the first installment was paid in the amount of $11,223, leaving a balance of $48,000. And the contractor agreed to discount additional 15% so that he could continue to finish the project. But I wanted to get a sense from council if you wanted me to stop the project and save the $59,000, or if you wanted to continue to move on. So I asked the engineer, I asked him to put together some information, which is in your packet, the goals of the project, as well as the project area. You see it on the screen. The project process, phase 1 and phase 2, and the timeline, which that's going to be modified some in other communities that they worked in. So I just wanted to get a sense from council if you want to move forward on that or not.
If I have to choose, I would move that money towards the pavilion, only because I think like the pavilion's going to be a good draw downtown. And when people are coming to look at the love letters, to get their pictures taken there, maybe at the visitor center, they might be interested in grabbing food from one of the restaurants or something, and then going to go sit down and have a picnic. I'm not seeing too much about what this streetscape includes, just like kind of briefly looking through the slides.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Seelock, I think I concur with that matter. If it's $40,000, I'd rather take away streetscape and put in pavilion. I think we get a bigger bang for a buck for the pavilion than we do on this proposal here.
Mr. Tedrick?
Yes, sir.
Going back to what you have on this paper, 70,000. We've already paid them 11,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
What was that for?
That was for they've started work. Yeah. I mean, they've had meetings. They've started their work, and then we're getting ready to schedule the first stakeholder meeting in town with various stakeholders, with businesses and citizens, and the pandemic broke out. So I put everything on hold, trying to figure out how we were going to move forward over the next couple months.
So if we pull the funding, is there going to be a penalty?
No, sir. We've confirmed we're allowed to cancel the contract, and they've formally been put on hold.
Okay, because my other question was about the disruption to business. If they're putting up, I see like little monuments or whatever, how that would, affect storefronts.
Yeah, I can't. They don't have any recommendations. They haven't gotten to any recommendation stage of their proposal yet.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Does this include actually completing some of the project, or is it only the recommendations on what we need to do?
No, it's only recommendations.
Yeah, then I'm with Latasha and Bill on the pavilion.
This is Chris. My understanding for the streetscape was a requirement part of the CDBG project, kind of like setting up the website as a step, and this was one of the steps that was supposed to be included into the whole grant program. So that's the portion I don't understand about. And like I said, we just started, we only had one meeting before everything kind of shut down. So
Yeah, I have questions surrounding that because we're spending $70,000 just to basically have an idea or somebody to draw up something, and then we're going to be paying an additional, who knows how much money to actually have the things implemented. I'd really like to know if that is a requirement of the CDBG grant, and I haven't been able to see that whole document. There's so many of them, but we need to definitely check into that. I just think $70,000 is a lot of money for somebody just to give us ideas, and then we're going to spend probably $100,000 or more to implement those ideas. So I would think first was all $70,000.
Yeah. So I'll double check tomorrow, and I have to go back in my notes, my file. I specifically remember having Chris, didn't we have a call with Craig, and he said we could cancel this portion without any ramification to the grant itself?
I can't really remember. I'm trying to remember it. Well, we can bring it up again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll confirm. I'm almost positive that we can cancel it without any. I know it's part of the grant, but they also said that we can shift money around within the grant. And again, it doesn't. All it really might do is in the future they may look look twice at giving us another CBDG grant, but I think we're already in that boat anyways. So,
Mr. Tedrick, Councilman Seelock again. What did we
Sure.
get for $11,000?
just their preliminary meetings with the town staff, understanding the overall goals and the scope. They sent us their bill and their working hours, and they were in line with what they spent up until the point of the COVID-19 breaking out.
So
They had not started meeting with stakeholders.
That is unreimbursable or no reimbursement.
Right. Yes, that's been paid and spent, and work has stopped.
Well, man, I've heard two people, one of the two councilmen say, just drop it. What about the rest of you guys? If Matt doesn't find out it affects the grant, is everybody willing to drop the project in general as far as the streetscape?
I'm good with it, just dropping it.
If anything that affects I don't want to affect the grant and the work that we've done. So if it does, then I want to keep moving forward. Same with the pavilion. If it's something that we're capable of putting on hold for the time being, at least for the next couple months, then that's what I'm in favor for.
Well, Matt, how about go ahead.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, why don't we go ahead and just do the same thing as we just talked about on the actual pavilion? Just check everything out and give us a full update as soon as we can at the June first meeting in June at the work session. Would that be too late or what?
No, sir. No, there's no time. We can hold off.
The bid for the pavilion may not be good by then, but we can reach out to.
We'll reach out.
We'll reach out to the bidder and find out.
We'll check it out and check out about the streetscape and then let us know. Let the council know exactly what we're looking at, because it's very important that if it does something to our block grant, then we may want to reconsider these things, as Jake mentioned earlier.
Yes, sir. Not a problem.
Okay. Anybody questions on this?
Nope.
All right, the second item tonight is the 6th Street, Commerce Avenue turn lane extension. Would you read the summary, please?
This discussion will cover the possible extension of the northbound turn lane, making the left-hand turn onto East 6th Street from North Commerce Avenue. By extending the left-hand turn lane, it'll allow more vehicles to stack in the turn lane without sticking out into traffic coming northbound on North Commerce Avenue. This would help improve the traffic flow at this intersection at certain times of the day.
Turn it over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This was a request from many months ago. I believe, I can't remember who specifically asked for it, but it has to do with the turn lane going south on Commerce onto 6th Street. You see on the screen the design of how to extend the stacking for the left turn lane. We're prepared to move forward on the project. Just wanted to make sure council was still fine with moving forward on the project.
Can you give us a cost on that? Can you give us a cost?
$18,000. $18,000 is the estimated cost.
And that's in-house work, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Matt. This is Jake, and I was the one that originally brought it up with the concern that what ended up happening based on the timing of the signal was that you would have the middle lane fill up with cars at the stoplight, not allowing cars into the left turn lane, not letting cars into that left turn lane and then backing it up through the cycle of signals. So I think that at one point in time, this lane might have been perfect for the volume of traffic going down 6th Street, but with the opening of Leech Run and then the growth around Leech Run from the school system to the hospital, I think it's a good idea to extend this turn lane.
Matt, I agree with Jake on that. I think it's very important, and this works out very well, I'd like to see us go on the other side of the intersection and do the northbound traffic coming into that intersection as well. That's turning left onto 6th Street. Let's get one done at a time if the council is willing to go ahead and take care of this.
I think it could be a great idea, Mr. Mayor. I'm all for moving forward with it.
Matt,
Very good. Hearing no objections, I'll get it on the schedule, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Matt, going back to the question I asked you last Thursday, can we also incorporate the widening of 17th Street there where the new gas station is being constructed, so we can get that out of the way as well before they get to completion of the actual service station?
Yes, sir. That's already. I've already had conversations with the bank. The bank has authorized the town to have that portion. I guess it would be an easement, and the attorneys are in the process of drafting the necessary paperwork so we can get the work started at some point very soon.
Mr. Mayor, this is Doug Napier. I've got a conference call scheduled Wednesday with Sheets attorneys. We're exchanging information now to finalize that.
That sounds good to me, Doug.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion on the 6th Street intersection? Okay, that's done. We'll go to the third one, the Pride in Our Town presentation. Matt?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. It's 8:00 at night. I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on this, but I did want to include the information in your packet for you to review. We do intend to move forward on this as soon as the appropriate restrictions are lifted. As you may recall, the program had to do with derelict, well, not derelict properties, but properties that had a lot of what might be considered trash and debris, and even unkept brush and shrubbery, like you see here on the top right. And so the code section is limited as far as what we can do to enforce people, cleaning up some of their properties. So working with staff and working with volunteer groups, this concept came together as far as combining volunteer efforts with and having town staff, in this case, Chris Brock, be the facilitator of identifying properties and partnering with volunteer organizations. And so in your packet, you have the various messaging, step one, as far as messaging, how we're going to go out and message to the people, as well as those that have actually filed a complaint against the neighbor's property. You see a draft letter on your left of what could be sent. And step three, town staff will actually do a site visit and collect information on the property, in which case they turn it over to the volunteer organization, step four, for the execution. And as far as complaints and prioritization, we prioritize based upon a complaint, based upon senior citizens and disabled individuals. And then you see in the last portion the draft waiver that our town attorney put together for the property owners to sign. So I know I went through that very quickly. I'm just trying to save some time for you guys. I know the next two items may take some time.
Thank you. This is the one program.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for us, Matt, to follow through with this Pride in Our Town. We sure need it in a lot of areas.
Yes, sir.
Anybody got any questions on this? Right, the next item.
Yeah. Mr. Tiedrick, I was just going to, Mr. Tiedrick, I was going to ask, when you were saying about some volunteer groups, do you already have people that are interested in that, or are you still building lists of volunteer groups?
Still building lists, and we have not actively been recruiting. We were actively recruiting prior to the plan was to launch this in April. Regrettably, we weren't able to launch it. So we have about 6 organizations that have volunteered already. And the plan would be we would rotate weekends, rotate Saturdays, and they go out to a certain section. They clean up the section. They clean up whatever houses. I've already coordinated with Public Works where they would have the debris on the curbside, and then Public Works would come by Monday or Tuesday and pick up the debris and take it away. So, I'm anxious to get it moving. I think it'd be a great program.
Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Next item
Yes, sir.
is the FY 2021 proposed budget advertisement. Could we read the summary so the public can know exactly what we're discussing?
Sure. Town Council is requested to provide staff with direction on advertising the appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year 2021 budget. Information must be provided to newspapers for advertisement by May 13th, 2020 in order to advertise and hold a public hearing at Town Council's May 26th, 2020 meeting. Staff suggests advertising the fiscal year 21 proposed budget as presented and for Council to approve an accompanying budget amendment to transfer line items previously discussed to contingency. The contingency funds can then be reviewed periodically, preferably monthly, along with revenues to determine the best course of action. Budget appropriation ordinance require only one advertisement. Advertising the proposed budget as presented and approving a budget amendment transferring items to contingency will allow the town to approve an accompanying budget amendment to transfer funds to contingency, plan for potential revenue shortfalls and have funds set aside to offset potential shortfalls, track revenues based on originally forecasted revenues, and the ability to transfer funds from contingency if revenues were to recover during fiscal year 21. The timeline looks like May 11th, approve an authorization for a public hearing on the budget. May 13th, send advertisement to newspaper for advertising in Saturday's paper on May 16th. May 26th, public hearing for the first reading, and June 8th, approval of the budget for the second reading.
Thank you, Matt. We'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. I guess we're here to just get your direction, Mr. Mayor. You thought it might be a good idea to go ahead and get council's input on the actual advertisement. So we have this on the agenda. BJ, is there anything you wanted to add?
Not so much. I mean, obviously we'll be able to do the budget amendment after approval there, or that would be the easiest route and allow us more versatility in the matter. But we certainly can handle this however council would like.
Is there any discussion about the council?
I'm good with the timeline.
Anyone else?
I agree.
I agree, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I agree as well.
I agree.
All right. Looks like that you have your work cut out for you. Put it in the Northern Virginia for advertisement or the paper, whatever.
Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Matt.
That's all right. The next item, Mr. Mayor, do you want to
I'm sorry.
start off on that?
Next item is item 5, Visitor Center Tourism Presentation. Let me see. Would you read the summary too, please?
Mary Ellen, do you want to read the summary?
Summary.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted.
Okay.
Councilman Thompson has requested that a presentation be given by Megan Campbell, Customer Service Specialist for the Front Royal Visitor Center with regards to the Visitor Center and tourism.
Mr. Steve, it's up to you now.
Yes, sir. We have Megan is on the line, I believe. Megan, you on the line?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so I am going to be the clicker, and while Megan goes through her presentation, so Megan, you just let me know when you're ready to move to the next slide.
Okay, thank you. I would like to start off by thanking Mr. Mayor, Mr. Tiedrich, and Town Council for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. As with any major decision in government, there's been a lot of talk around the budget and recommended cuts to said budget. Along with these talks, some misinformation has been shared with both the council and the general public about the tourism department and what we do down at the visitor center. I'm here tonight to correct the misinformation. The visitor center and the tourism department are made up of 5 employees and up to 8 volunteers. Tim Smith is the manager overseeing operations. Nellie Adkins works in social media, scheduling daily Facebook posts. Deborah Nicholson handles merchandising and inventory control. Gail Krieger is the town's AT liaison, that's the Appalachian Trail liaison, and the head of our website management. She's also responsible for monitoring Google Analytics and creating a monthly newsletter of events and information. I, Megan Campbell, am the latest addition to tourism. I was hired to manage the nearly 500 brochures we offer at the Visitor Center and assist with managing social media. Since then, my job has also grown to include monitoring Facebook analytics. We have 2 volunteers that assist us year-round, with an additional 6 that come in during the busy season. They are instrumental in a lot of what we do, but of everything they help with, the most important is our visitors. In addition to the jobs listed above, we assist Front Royal, Warren County visitors and potential visitors in finding activities to do, restaurants to eat in, and places to stay. We also provide directions around the town and county, suggest personalized areas of interest, and help both travelers and locals with information on future destinations. Change slide, please. It is believed by some that we print more copies of the visitor's guide than necessary. However, we had 70,000 visitors' guides printed for 2020. This is the same number that we printed for 2019. And at the end of the fiscal year for 2019, we had less than 400 guides left. Those were also delivered to outside locations, so not a single guide was wasted. 30,000 visitors' guides are going to a third-party distributor to be taken to various welcome centers down the I-81 and I-95 corridors. This service is not paid for by the town. We cannot allude to the success of this practice yet, though, because 2020 was to be the second year that we took part. And of course, we all know what's going on now, so we'll have to see how that goes in the future. Hundreds of guides have also already this year been requested from various centers around the state. This includes Skipper's Welcome Center on I-95 near the Virginia-North Carolina border, which had approximately 925,000 visitors in 2019, and recently requested an additional 1,500 guides, 8 boxes, because they were getting low. So far in 2020, approximately 50 boxes have already been requested by other local and surrounding area entities. That's an additional 9,000 visitor guides that are slated to go out if they haven't gone out already. And of course, Gail handles requests like these weekly, or at least did prior to COVID-19. Tim also delivers guides, maps, and other printed materials to local businesses. And this is, of course, in addition to the nearly 30,000 guides that are distributed to visitors here at the Visitor Center each year, of course, prior to this situation.
Ms. Campbell? Ms.
Yes,
Campbell,
ma'am.
I just wanted to know, amongst council and mayor, if we have questions, should we ask them while you're on that slide, or should we wait until the end?
What works better for all of you
Lori,
as far as the time constraints? I don't want to take too much time from everybody today.
Lori, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask at the time we're reading it.
Okay, so that previous slide, I was just wondering about the second bullet. It says that they're going to a third-party distributor, and this service is not paid for by the town. So who pays for that service?
So it is my understanding, and I would probably have to discuss with him just to be 100% certain, but it is my understanding that this was something that was paid for by the joint tourism group with the county. So it wasn't something that was actually paid for out of the town's budget.
Okay.
Who funds the joint tourism group?
That I'm not privy to. I could find out and get back to you on that. That's for sure.
Isn't that funded by town and county?
Again, sorry, go ahead.
No, please. Sorry, Megan. Go ahead.
Well, no, that was something that was handled by Felicia. So it's just that was the information that was given to me, was that it had been said before that the town paid for that, and that's not necessarily the case. It wasn't something that was taken out of our budget from the town.
Yeah, so there's a regional tourism commission that we fund a portion of, as well as Shenandoah County and some other jurisdictions. And I think it's 14, BJ, is 14,000?
Yeah, that sounds about correct. Yes. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but that's about correct.
That was my
Yes,
only
so
question.
14,000 of the budget covers all of the co-op advertising, everything that we worked with, the SVTA and the SVTP, all of that was all included in that 14,000.
That was my only question. Thank you.
Okay. And that actually kind of takes me into the slide here where we're talking about the printing budget items. Our printing budget was also kind of a source of confusion in the beginning when the budget was first being discussed. So we wanted to provide kind of a breakdown. $26,000 is for printing and binding. The examples that were provided to you are just a fraction of what's paid for in this budget line. There's actually a lot of information that we provide. It's not necessarily advertisement, it's just information that we provide people who are already here to help them kind of get around town and find what they're looking for. $22,000 is for of our budget is for advertising, and that is both printed and digital advertising. That goes for paying for advertisements in magazines, papers, online, etc. As we had discussed previously, $14,000 is for the co-op advertising, where we're working with other groups, and then $24,000 is for professional services. With that said, there was an ad in Southern Living that we did that provided us over 1,500 reader response cards asking for visitors guides and more information. That translates to approximately $2.38 per person reached. And although I could not find the specifics for Front Royal when I was doing my research, the average vacationer I found in Virginia spends over $70 a day in food, transportation, and lodging. So whereas the printing budget was kind of questioned, we are getting, I believe, a decent bang for our buck. Next slide, please. And our marketing strategies were also kind of called into question, as well as who we've been marketing to. Most of our day trip visitors are coming from Northern Virginia. However, they're not the ones that are contributing to tourism through the lodging tax and are usually only here for a matter of hours. The people most contributing to our lodging tax and tourism are coming from other surrounding areas such as DC, Maryland, Pennsylvania. We've been working to increase our marketing in those places. For example, at the Pittsburgh Travel Showcase, 1,440 visitors guides were given to potential visitors, all of which would likely be overnight guests. We have also been working on Facebook ads that focus on these areas, reaching up to 3 million people in DC, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. We're currently working on the cost analysis for these ads as well. Next slide, please. And our reviews speak for themselves as to the visitors that come to Front Royal and into the visitor center. We've had multiple visitors just in the time that I worked here that have moved to the area, and they often credit us with helping them kind of fall in love with Front Royal and Warren County. On TripAdvisor, the Front Royal Warren County Visitor Center has 211 reviews with a rating of 4.5. We are listed at number 1 of 16 things to do in Front Royal and are the number 2 attraction for the area. We've received a certificate of excellence every year for the last 5 years. And we've also got 15 reviews on Google with a rating of 4.3. Next slide, please.
Megan, this is Matt. I had a question for you on this slide.
Sure.
The 211 reviews on TripAdvisor, is that just last year or is that total?
I believe that is total reviews because we get a review, 1 or 2 normally during like the slow season, maybe 1 or 2 every couple of months. And then they really pick up, of course, when it gets busier here. We've got more people coming in. So I would say that's probably over the last few years.
Okay. And the Google reviews, I assume that's total as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you have a Yelp account?
No, we do not. Yelp is actually more primarily restaurants and private businesses. There are a couple of places where people will kind of create the Yelp, but if you look at them, they've not actually been accepted by a lot of the visitor centers and things like that in the area.
Yeah. So when I was looking at the slide deck, and you did a great job putting this together. I noticed that on TripAdvisor, you have, or the Front Royal Town Tourism Office is the descriptor, and on Google, it's the Front Royal, it's a Front Royal Visitor Center and the Front Royal Tourism Office. Is there a reason that there's two separate brands or two separate names on two separate social platforms or platforms like that?
Being that I believe those were both set up well before my time, I'm not entirely certain as to why they're two different. But when you search, Front Royal Tourism or Front Royal Visitor Center, that's what comes up for both locations.
Okay. Because I would assume if I search for visitor on the Google there, it wouldn't come up. But okay. Thank you. That's all I had for that slide.
Oh, no problem.
Megan, this is Jake. I'm just trying to put some of the analytics there in perspective. And so
Sure.
with regard to the TripAdvisor and the Google reviews, do we have two people in the visitor center that manage the analytics to improve our analytics? Does that include our social media and yourself? Is that Nellie?
We
yourself?
have one that manages Google Analytics. That's Gail. She's the one that primarily handles the website. She handles the Google Analytics and is usually the one who gets the information when it comes to TripAdvisor. Anytime we get a new review, the rest of us get the review from her. So she's the one that primarily handles that. Facebook Analytics, I believe, has been a fairly new thing for us to kind of take on. And that has been my personal project, if you will. And I've been working closely with Gail to be able to kind of mesh the two and showcase, where Facebook is meshing with our website, with the new website.
Thank you. And then what is so I'm not sure who manages kind of the goal of it, but just again, trying to gain some perspective around how we push this. What is our goal on a monthly or annual basis of what we're trying to achieve on either TripAdvisor or Google reviews?
Well, we are, for the most part, hitting our goal because with TripAdvisor, it's always going to look better for the area that you're in or for the area that people are looking at, for there to be, a lot of good reviews over a period of time, a lot of high ranking reviews. And with the fact that we've gotten their highest, kind of award of having that certificate of excellence for the last 5 years, we are doing what we need to do. When we do have people come in, we'll often give out the little cards. TripAdvisor provides us with cards that we can give out to people to encourage them to do a TripAdvisor review. And it gets us more exposure. It gets more people to see how wonderful it is here and how great of a town this is, how great of a county this is, what we have to offer. And it's more about outreach to bring more people in.
Sure. That makes sense to me. I guess what I was trying to do is quantify the work being done on that. So if we have an individual who's dedicated to bolstering our social media, is there a particular goal that they have in mind when they're trying to push TripAdvisor? Like, is it number of reviews or number of reviews on Google, that sort of thing?
With that, I think it's more so the quality as opposed to the quantity. Because people are going to react better to hear that the visitors coming here are happier, not so much that there's so many people coming here, if that makes sense on the review aspect of it. Whereas the social media comes in with Facebook, and future slides, I'll be discussing that, and I can give a little bit more specifics as to numbers when it comes to our goals there with social media.
So do we
Thank
have
you, Megan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jake. Or do we have goals as far as like we want X numbers of followers on our page? And I know like the likes on pictures and things aren't indicative of who's actually seen it or interacted in other ways. Is there like a numerical goal?
Well, that's actually, I'll be going over that in another slide or two.
Sweet. Thank you.
No problem.
But again, 15 reviews on Google, that, I mean, I understand, let's say they're all great reviews, but in a lifetime, you're not suggesting that's the goal.
No, sir. Basically, when it comes to the reviews on Google, when it comes to the reviews on TripAdvisor, that's just showing how good of a job that we are currently doing. For the most part, most people are going to be more likely, especially on the internet, okay, to be negative rather than positive. And the fact that we're able to get people talking about the visitor center, talking about what we've offered them while we've been here, the different things in town that we've, sent them to that they've enjoyed, the different, attractions and eateries and everything that we have to offer here. That's going to get more people when they're searching for places to go, or if they want to go somewhere that has, really interesting caverns or something like that. They'll look up different areas. This sets us aside from some of the other places they may visit that are, not all that far away, but don't have the great standing that we do on TripAdvisor or even on Google. But most of the time with TripAdvisor, we can actually, encourage people to post on there. But with Google, it's just kind of people will do it if they feel like it.
People use TripAdvisor and not Google. Like most of the businesses don't have Google reviews in general. And I know I would never review a visitor center on Google, but I would on TripAdvisor.
Yeah. Yeah, TripAdvisor is a lot more common, especially when, vacation planning and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, Latasha. I think Google I think it's really important to beef up the reviews on Google. And I ran this past a corporate marketing person as well and validated that because it increases traffic. More increased traffic on Google gets recognized on Google Maps, Google Search, etc. So, anyways, we don't have to.
Yeah,
we've talked enough about Google.
Like that, which is more than a
Yeah.
Google. That's the wording that's used in posts and things like that to get Front Royal to organically appear near the top of a search versus a paid search.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, yeah.
Matt,
Yes, sir.
I'm having a little trouble listening and hearing Latasha. I'm not sure if she's up close enough to her iPad or something. It just seems like it's more muffled than what I'm hearing.
Okay, is that better?
Say it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a whole lot better.
Okay,
Thank
perfect. I was just saying on Google, what you're looking for is trying to get your item, say Front Royal, to the top of the search. And that's using SEO. And it's not really based on Google reviews. It's based on the wordings that you're using, and organic meaning we're not paying for it versus the paid ads that you because the two aren't related.
Yeah, Google is more commonly used to try to get people to, like, for instance, to our website.
Okay, I'm not going to debate. Okay. You're on merchandise?
All right. There's been a lot of concern regarding our merchandise and merchandise practices. Just so everyone understands, we carry T-shirts for adult and children, sweatshirts, and hoodies. There are approximately 16 style variations between them. We have drinkware, mugs, stemware, and glassware, postcards, magnets, keychains, ornaments, books, hiking maps, Appalachian Trail maps, necklaces, bracelets, charms, totes, stuffed animals, and other memorabilia. All of these products have been chosen by Debbie personally to appeal to the wide range of visitors that we welcome into the visitor center every day. Additionally, merchandise items are ordered a season in advance, so we have product on hand when that season arrives. Therefore, at times, we do seem to have an abundance of items in stock. Another thing to keep in mind, too, is that we are the only location where people can get these products. So people specifically will come in here so they can get Front Royal memorabilia to take home with them or even to mail out to friends. Next slide, please. And as you can see on this table, over the last 3 years, our sales have grown significantly. Right now, this is an actual benefit to the town. All of the money from product sales goes into the town's general fund. That refund and revenue will be lost not just next year, but every year the town does not oversee the visitor center. Next slide, please.
I think it's important to note on this slide, members of council, is that what's being depicted is simply the budget allocation and the sales. What is not being shown is the actual net expense after the sales, including staffing, credit card fees, utilities, etc. Based upon finance director's calculations, net after expenses in FY20 netted $1,564. In 2019, it lost $1,426. In 2018, it lost $5,526. So the good news is we're not losing money through merchandise sales anymore, but we're making about $1,500 net. Web management?
It was thought that the town outsourced the management of the tourism website. Although we did outsource the coding for the site, all of the visitor center employees were instrumental in developing the website. Gail, Deb, and I were then tasked with maintaining and managing the town's tourism website, so the website is in fact done in-house. We monitor businesses listed, adding and deleting as needed. We add events to the website as needed. Gail handles all website emails, visitor statistics, and Gail and I worked, like I said previously, on a cross-application campaign to encourage visitors and residents to get involved with the website by adding their personal photos to the site. So it really gets the public involved. Change slide, please.
Yeah, and just clarification on that point, members of council. So we're paying. I'm sorry. We're paying about $5.
You might be answering what I was just going to ask, Matt, which I was confused on the outsourcing versus staff managing it.
Yeah, so as far as the content, some of the content that goes into it, it is being managed by in-house, which is pretty typical. So a web developer will build the page and will and then turn it over for people to just put up, change words on the page, etc. We're paying about $3,200 last year for web management. We had $1,900 for design, meetings, logos, images, loading content, plug-in license fees, and other third-party fees. And in addition to the monthly hosting and the annual subscription fees. I just wanted to clarify that point.
I just wanted to bring up, because I work at Trex or whatnot, but we paid our person who does Facebook posts $120 per hour. So for the year, it gets very expensive for content, and that's content management. And that's just one piece, and that was just Facebook. I don't even think that included like our Pinterest or Instagram.
Yeah, that is true. The website was put together and designed and everything last year. Since then, it's been up to us to take care of it, to manage it, to do any kind of additions or edits that need to be done. And if we're ready to move on, next slide, please.
Is it this slide or next one? This one?
This one.
Okay.
As government employees, our creativity and agility in handling tourism has been questioned. However, both the town and Chamber of Commerce have actually used some of our ideas or posts from Facebook. So clearly we're doing something right there. I also created a Foodie Friday, a Facebook campaign that highlights the restaurants in Front Royal and Warren County and shows us to be the foodie destination we are. Nellie and I have worked out a social media calendar that includes special national days and additional Facebook campaigns of Throwback Thursday and Travel Tuesday. I also created inspirational material for social media using photos from the town's collection and relevant quotes to match. The employees at the Visitor Center have had a hand in designing the website, our visitor guide, and numerous other projects, and we also came together to develop a Did You Know campaign to alert both visitors and residents alike to what we have to offer in Front Royal and Warren County. There are 15 different posters that are placed outside the Visitor Center, and every single one of them have brought people in inquiring on what they've seen. Change slide, please. Our Facebook stats also show us to be doing very well when compared to our neighbors. From January 2019 to December 2019, our Facebook followers grew from 8,375 to 9,144. We made a goal for 2020 to reach 10,000 followers. As of 3/7/2020, our number was 9,618. We were less than 400 away from our year goal. Now, I did an update for you guys so you would have the most up-to-date numbers. And as of today, we actually have 9,953 Facebook followers. One of the March posts that I did showcasing Main Street, then and now, has actually reached over 46,000 people. And both of those numbers continue to grow daily. So it's not like we're slowing down with the COVID-19. We're actually doing a lot better on Facebook right now. We're also leading Winchester, Harrisonburg, Waynesboro, and Warrenton in page likes and follows, and are nearly equal to Shenandoah County and Culpeper, Virginia. We are about halfway to matching Roanoke, Virginia, and they have a population of over 96,000 people. You can see that these numbers on the Word document that I believe was provided to you. When it comes to engagement, people liking, clicking, and engaging in our Facebook posts, we regularly beat out our local competition. Here you can see that from, there's a week in March, and actually I don't believe it's on this one, maybe on a different slide or possibly on that piece of paper, where each of the page's top posts in terms of engagement along with our top posts for the week, and our engagement is far greater. Same slide, please.
Megan, can I ask a question on that? Where are you able to monitor where the likes are coming from the particular post? Is it coming from the links from the town webpage? How do people, or where's the information reflecting on getting those likes?
So the majority of, when it comes to where they're coming from, the majority of our followers and our likes are local, and then it kind of spreads out from there. So as and that's part of why we're attempting to reach people that are a little bit further out, because we already have a really strong following here in Front Royal. We already have a really strong following in the surrounding areas up to Northern Virginia, and then it kind of slowly starts to taper off. So we're trying to kind of increase that outside circle since our inside circle is already good.
So out of the 9,000 or so, do you know how many of them are from a local region versus outside of the town?
I can pull that up. And that is definitely information that I can access.
Okay.
Yeah, I was also curious in the Google Analytics behind it, just to know how people land on our Facebook page. And I think that's pretty much what Jake was asking too. Like, were they on the town website, found a Facebook link, and then, they clicked on it and that's where they came from? Trying to figure out how they came to our Facebook page, or if it was just maybe a Google search and they found it.
Well, the majority, from what I have found, the majority of people that come to our Facebook page are ones that either come through something like a post that has been shared, or a situation like that. We do have, I believe, a few that are coming from our website, from Discover Front Royal. But I believe the majority are coming from posts that we've actually done on Facebook where they've reached out to, they've been shared by other either businesses here in town or other people that just share them on their personal page. And then, of course, if anyone who likes one of our posts that is not currently someone who follows us on Facebook or who likes us on Facebook, it has an option where I can invite them, and I monitor 7 days a week to make sure that those people are invited. Every single person who is not currently following us gets an invite.
Okay, I understand what you mean because I run my council Facebook page and I do the same thing.
Yeah. All right, we're good there. Change slide, please. We also do a lot more digital advertising than has been discussed. This past year particularly, we have significantly increased our digital marketing, and much of what we have done has been at no additional cost to the town. Gale sends out a monthly newsletter via email. This reaches about 2,395 people, with that number growing each month. Anytime that someone signs in, they have the option to provide their email to sign up for the newsletter. Nellie and I schedule a Facebook post 1 to 2 per day, and those reach between approximately 200 to nearly 7,000 people daily, depending on the post and the time of year. Now, that's just kind of our general. We do have the ones that, of course, go even higher than that, but that's just kind of giving a base grouping. Felicia and I also were working on Facebook ads, and we've also added many of our printed guides to the website to access digitally, such as the Visitor's Guide, the Walking Tour, the Greenway, the AT Hiker Guide, the Battle of Front Royal, and numerous quests. I've even done Facebook posts that link to our website to take people to these digital pages. We've made multiple attempts over the last year to also increase our social media presence. However, we were limited by what the town would approve. We were told, and I've learned now that there was some discrepancy in communication, but we were told that we were not able to have Instagram, Snapchat, etc. And we're also told that we were to limit our hashtags to a maximum of 4 per Facebook post. That significantly limited our reach for social media. I've since been given the approval to go forward with Instagram, but have not yet been given access. But of course, it's an avenue of advertising that could definitely be utilized even during our current limitations. So we can only get better from here. Change slide, please.
Hey, Megan, this is Matt. I wanted to ask you, who told you that you could not use Instagram and the number of hashtags, et cetera?
We were informed through our monthly staff meeting by Felicia, coming from someone, and I'm not sure who exactly, but someone from Town Hall was apparently telling her that.
Okay, just so council's clear, I never had that conversation with Felicia, so I just want to make sure I wasn't the one that allegedly said you can't use Instagram and the hashtags. Do you know what the bounce rate and click rate and open rate is for those emails?
That I'm not privy to that information, but I can speak with Gale and get back to you with that information.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, sure.
Megan, this is Councilman Gillespie. Thank you for coming tonight. I got one question. So
yes, sir.
Discover Front Royal is handled by you guys as well, correct?
Yes, Discover Front Royal is the website. Yes, sir.
Do we have an agreement with other localities as far as promoting other places, like Luray Caverns?
That I'm not privy to. I don't believe we have an agreement for us to be promoting Luray Caverns. Everything that I have experienced has been in promotion of Skyline Caverns.
About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had seen on the Discover Front Royal site promoting Luray Caverns, and that's why I'm asking this question. And I didn't know.
Oh, are you talking about the Facebook page? Sorry, I thought you were talking about the website. Because of course they're both Discover Front Royal. On the Facebook page, we do at few times, as long as it's kind of a long story, but we will do things that will kind of highlight the valley. If you'll notice some of the things that I put up there, I will do, hashtag Shenandoah Valley. That one post was not mine, so I can't particularly explain that one. But there are times that we do sometimes on Facebook go a little bit outside of the direct realm to try to kind of bring more people to the area per se.
Thank you, Megan.
No problem. And if we can go to the next slide, please. And although it has been brought to my attention now that the town and county do have individual tourism budgets, the tourism department at the visitor center markets for both. This is not. Matt, if you don't mind me asking, is this the new promotion or the presentation, or is this the old one?
No, this is the one that you sent Tina, and she put it in the council packet.
Yeah, this is not. This is not correct.
Different version. Is this
well, it's just there's a couple of additional slides in the old one that are not in the new one, but that's okay.
Okay.
We can go ahead and skip this additional notes page and move on to the town and county marketing page.
Okay. I had a question back into digital marketing. How much? What is your budget? How much do you spend on social media paid ads?
I have not done any social media paid ads while I have been here. That's something that Felicia and I were working on. And when she was let go, everything kind of came to a halt. Then I had a meeting with Miss Thompson, and she had said to go ahead and continue on working on those. And of course, we were working on figuring out cost analysis with it when everything sort of happened. So again, it was kind of placed on hold, but we are ready to move forward with the cost analysis to, continue to do that. I'm very excited to do that. I'd be more than happy to move forward.
Have you ever done paid ads in social media before?
I have not personally. I've put together some things as far as playing with the ones on Facebook, but have not, done a paid ad before.
Got it. As far as video content, how much video content do you guys push?
Well, video content is obviously going to be the best thing. Video is the best, and then photography and links, those kind of follow after. I have personally done a few different videos. We did one for the hometown Halloween. I even did one while we were here while everything was shut down. There was a couple of gentlemen outside of CNC Frozen Treats, and I did a video of them playing music just, on the street trying to kind of lift people up. So every opportunity that I have, I'm attempting to get video for us to share on Facebook and social media. Aside from, what I've personally gotten, there's not a whole lot that I know of that the town has on hand for us to be able to use. So aside from that, it's mostly sharing video from, other companies and groups in the area.
Yeah, I've recently been shown some videos that were on Felicia's computer that were exceptional videos, and it'd be good to push those out. But,
well, I mean,
okay.
Yeah, I would, if you would like to make those available to me, I will gladly share them.
Sure. Okay. Town marketing, is this the slide? Is this the right slide?
Yes, sir. Although it hasn't brought to my attention that the town and county do have individual tourism budgets, The tourism department at the visitor center markets for both. If you guys follow these links, or if you go in and do the search on these links, when you visit these sites, you'll actually get to see that. It takes you to our Facebook page. It takes you to the calendar for both our Facebook and website, and takes you into our website, so you can see that we don't just focus on Front Royal as a town, but we also focus on Warren County itself. Change slide, please. I've also created multiple itineraries and day trips. Many have been shared with the Virginia Tourism Corporation and are added to their website. And there should have been an example provided to you. Some were provided to groups visiting Front Royal in 2019, including a specialized itinerary that I did for a motorcycle group staying for a long weekend. I have even more itineraries in the works for 2020. And then additional itineraries, log writings, and photographs were also provided to the VTC as requested, and that's the Virginia Tourism Corporation. We completed over 20 of these PR leads in 2019, and that was additional free advertising that we provided for the town and county. Anytime a business or social group or lodging location would ever inquire about itineraries, we would provide them, even if we had to kind of do something specialized. All they needed to do was ask. Change slide, please. For the most part, and this is just kind of how do we measure the benefits of what we do here. For the most part, the services that we provide are immeasurable. We are the billboard on the side of the highway that entices travelers to stop and see what we have to offer. People may still get off the road for gas or a snack, but they won't know about the beautiful and unique caverns down the street or the location of the one and only Virginia Beer Museum without that billboard. We bring people in, tell them about the amazing things this area has to offer, and help them find their way. We are a service to the town and county. We are not a business. And although we do make profit for the town, we are not for profit. The profit from tourism is seen in economic growth, in cultural growth, in brand growth, and image growth on a global scale. Our profit is measured in the businesses we promote and the positive light with which we promote Front Royal and Warren County as a whole. On a personal note, this has been a painful and often disheartening experience for those of us at the Visitor Center. Since the end of January and Felicia Hart's removal, we were in limbo, often not knowing whether we would have a job the next day or not. To make matters worse, in all the discussions and plans we were seeing for tourism, both by the Council and the Tourism Advisory Board, no one, aside from LaTasha Thompson, would even attempted to speak with the employees of the Visitor Center and the very people who were doing the work being discussed. At the Tourism Advisory Board's meeting, the town manager asked a great number of questions to the group, of which no one had the answers. However, had the Visitor Center employees been present at those meetings, we would have been able to provide those answers as to where we were and where we were going. We've also had to step up where we could in Felicia's absence, even with unemployment and for some, the loss of medical insurance looming. Twice since Felicia left, I've had to welcome new businesses to the town and connect with them. Although I'm happy to do this, it's time-consuming and a time-sensitive responsibility. Additional opportunities with travel groups and tourism collaborations have been lost as well, as Felicia was the one in charge of those connections. We've lost a lot in what's happened, and right now we're just kind of trying to keep tourism together. Lastly, it's been said that these budget cuts are not personal, and I believe that the budget cuts, I agree, so the budget cuts are not. However, degrading and disregarding the functions and usefulness of the employees of the tourism department has been very personal. And it feels like that's been the tactic of approach since the public came out in majority, silent or otherwise, support of keeping tourism with the town. We love this town and we love what we do. We work hard and we give everything we have, often working well beyond our income level, but we do it because we care. I am a Warren County resident, and as both a county resident and a town employee, I want nothing more than to see my community grow and thrive. That is why I put this presentation together and why I have worked so hard to speak with you. Because when you sit down to decide the fate of the employees at the Visitor Center, I don't want there to be any doubt as to what we have done and what we continue to do for Front Royal and Warren County. Thank you guys very much for your time.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor, that concludes the presentation. If there's any questions or comments from council.
Any comments?
Okay.
All right. That was our last item tonight. Is there any discussion on any other item?
Mr. Mayor, the one thing I did want to bring up, the governor had a press conference today, which he's planning to initiate phase 1 on May 18th. So approximately, 2 weeks, which is a Friday. I'm sorry, that's not accurate. That's not accurate. It's May 15th, Friday, May 15th. And if that were the case, Mr. Wilson and I have been talking about possibly opening up the lobby on the 18th, on Monday the 18th. We've put glass in the lobby now, separating the tellers from the citizens in an effort to give them some extra layer of protection. And we're going to do something similar in the planning department. Department of Finance will continue to process payments through the drive-through, and with tax bills being mailed in, might be a little difficult to continue a high volume in the drive-through. We do want to have council start thinking about when we want to start assessing late fees and penalties and disconnections due to non-payment. I know it's no one wants to talk about this, but at some point we're going to have to talk about how we're going to get some folks who should be paying their bills to pay their bills. We've thought about possibly at the beginning of June, start making an announcement now and putting notices in people's envelopes that we're going to start assessing penalties, late fees, et cetera, in June. But again, it's one of those things we're going to have to start talking about here in the future or very soon. Also, some delinquent utility bills are going to be very large. The Department of Finance will do their best to work with citizens to come up with a payment plan to compromise on behalf of the account holders. I anticipate council is going to hear from citizens once we resume disconnections for non-payment. So if we're going to need to get some direction from council on that. And as you may recall, we are waiving the credit card fees until June 30th. If council wants to continue that, we're going to have to factor that into the budget as for FY21. BJ, is any other comments I missed?
As far as the credit card fees go, we'll also, if we're going to remove those for the future, we'll have to do an ordinance amendment and take that out of county code or revise. So we'll just need to get that on the forefront as well as we move forward, if that's something we want to entertain.
Matt, could you give us a list of all those items?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Matt, can we soon start, whether it be through special session on plans for the reopening? Matt, and I didn't really have anything prepared to talk about this issue tonight, but I think it needs to be brought up. Everybody's aware. There's a lot of people in our town that are hurting, and especially our small business people. And the one size fits all approach to Fairfax and Richmond and a lot of our big metropolitan areas shouldn't really be pushed on people in the valley or and things of that nature. Matt and Mr. Mayor, at some point, I had sent Doug an email earlier this week or on Sunday morning. As far as what we can do, if anything, we can do to help our business people open up. Because let's face it, we can sit here and talk about putting bills bills off and putting payments off and things of that sort. But the only thing that's going to help is for these people to reopen. And I just want for us as a council to have this discussion because I know a lot of people right now are going to be mad at me. You know, I'm probably going to get some death threats after this one, but hey, you know, there's other people out there that are seriously in trouble right now, and we need to realize that. And I think all of us do. But you know, Jake had a great idea of a resolution, Mr. Northam. I thought that was a fabulous idea. I don't know how far it will go, but at some point, somebody's going to have to take a look at this. And I know through Mr. Napier's answer to me is that, you know, pretty much when you're under a government order or the governor's order, that there's really nothing we can do is for fear of liability. And I don't want to get into too big of an argument about that either, but you know, because it's like the flu. You know, we don't sue. I'm not comparing COVID-19 to the flu. Don't nobody misunderstand me. But we do not sue people over the flu when we catch it from somebody. You know, I mean, I don't. And please don't mistake my words here, but you know, I understand it's worse than the flu, and I get all that, and I know this is serious, but I think if we can find a way to do this with social distancing and things of that nature, you know, I think some of the businesses, as far as the separations, you know, we got to give them a chance. And I think we need to really seriously soon start this discussion, Matt, Mayor, members of council. That's about all I have. Thank you.
Well, Matt, excuse me, go ahead.
Sorry, Gene, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right, go ahead.
I was just going to say I agree with Councilman Gillespie. And even the new update of the May 15th phased approach is going to restrict restaurants to only 25% of occupancy. So I don't want people to get I want to be hopeful, but I don't want them to get the wrong impression that this isn't worth taking up because it's moving from June 10th to May 15th. It is moving to May 15th with limited change, and then planned to go on for months in reassessments. So June 10th is no longer the end. It's going to be part of a phased approach. So I think it's important for Warren County to start looking at our own district in the Lord Fairfax district, understanding that there have been only 4 hospitalizations in Warren County with 0 deaths, and all of our businesses closed. So I think at some point, I think I said this in an email earlier, that if this council doesn't work towards helping to find a resolution, I don't know what that is, but don't help finding a resolution, I don't know who in the town is able to do that. And I think as elected officials, we should start putting our heads together on the right approach. And one more thing, I think Councilman Gillespie made a really good point about, you know, in the resolution, stating that, you know, we'd like to be able to reopen and remove some of these restrictions on our businesses. Just keep in mind that we quickly did that when it came to our Second Amendment rights. And I think that there are still some questions out there related to the constitutionality of the broad reach of the executive order. Just as the Second Amendment rights was challenged in the resolution, I think that I think we should pick that up and evaluate it and look at doing a resolution to send to Richmond.
Yeah, I agreed with that as well. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that we're not saying we're going to sacrifice people's lives because it's just not that widespread here right now in Warren County. And, you know, everybody has to do what's best for their families. If you're high risk, you know, continue your self-isolation or the quarantining. But, you know, if you're not, then you can, you know, continue doing what you were doing before this. or you can opt to still do what you're doing. I mean, either way, but I want to make sure that no one thinks that we're being like cruel or anything like that.
I'm sorry to cancel, then we'll go ahead and set up a resolution for the next council meeting. Ask Doug. Doug, can you get something together for us on that? And we'll stick it on our agenda for the next meeting. Is that okay?
Sorry.
I think
Yes, sir.
I had a quick question for Matt.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, do we have any gazebo permits for like this weekend or the next one?
I'm sorry, what kind of permits?
Permits for the gazebo.
No, ma'am. We've stopped all when the governor's order came out. We sent out all notices to anyone that had submitted permit requests that we just could not honor those permit requests to use the facilities because of the order from the governor.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Now, I will state that the Commonwealth Attorney, I had a conference call with the Commonwealth Attorney several weeks ago, and he said that individuals do have their First Amendment right to gather in public, and as long as they're maintaining social distance, that there's, that's their right.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have one thing that I'd like to bring up for next Monday night, if it's possible, and I've talked to Matt about it. Also talked to Walt May, but I know everybody on the council realizes that Front Row is separated 3 different areas, and we have 3 different delegates. And I'd like to bring forth a resolution, Doug, if you can listen to this, put something together and bring up a resolution that we could ask the legislators to take us out of 3 separate items as far as parts of the town and put us under 1 delegate so that we can all work through 1 person instead of 3 different individuals. I
think it's a great idea.
I did talk to Walt Mabe about it, and he thinks it's a good idea. So he's planning on talking to the Board of Supervisors as well. So Matt, you and Doug might want to touch base with them so maybe we can do a joint resolution or something to that effect. That's okay with the council.
I agree with the mayor.
Me too.
Mr. Mayor,
council and mayor, may I bring up a separate discussion, please?
Sure.
In your email, you have been getting, you should have 2 emails at this point on selection of the new town manager by Baker Tilly. I would highly recommend that you review the portal that they're feeding information into at this point. I also told them we need to feed the information on the response by citizens, which I thought was excellent. So you should have that as well. So if you take the time, open up that portal and start reviewing, because we have a decision coming up here in the early part of June looking at candidates and interviewing. So beware of that. And I'm trying to push as hard as we can so we can have this 90-day period accomplish the task in a period of time. So that's what I've got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Anybody else? Anybody else?
yeah, Mr. Mayor, could you also ask Mr. May to just check with the Board of Supervisors if they would be interested in getting behind, resolution, please? I don't know.
The resolution for opening up business?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sure,
Please.
I'll contact him tomorrow.
Thank you.
Anything else we need to bring up today? If not, meeting closed.
Thank you. You have a good night.
Thank you.